and come digitize one of my sketches with me. Today's is a little interesting because it is actually digital already, but it is a note that I drew on my phone. Very interestingly, and I hope that you guys can see that this is like a sketch and not something weird. But I think I did it when I was out somewhere, so I didn't actually have access to draw or do it the real way. But, and while I'm doing that, I'm gonna rant about art and being an artist for a second. I used to think that being an artist was a very exclusive club that only certain people had access to, which obviously I don't feel that way now. But I think it's because I used to think it was something where you had to be earning a living, you had to be working, you had to be profiting off of your art in order to be an artist. And no, don't be scared. I am not drawing the what you think I'm drawing. Unless you think I'm drawing a thumb, then yeah, thumbs up. But so I used to think that you had to be an artist. Like to be an artist, you had to be profiting off of it. I thought you had to be making money. I thought that had to be your career, your end goal, and everything in order to be considered one. Because that's what I used to think it was. I was like, oh, well, these artists are the painters that are making thousands of dollars or whatever it is. And I used to want to be that so bad, which was so confusing because I actually used to hate the idea of being any type of freelance, any type of anything. I hated that idea. I was like, I need someone to be paying my bills. I need to have healthcare. And I hated the idea of being a business owner or any type of thing because to me, in my eyes, that meant instability. Which is funny because I held these artists to such a high standard. And I was like, oh, you're not really an artist if you're not like, whatever. But for me, I really thought that it was something where, and you guys aren't going to be able to see the color on this, but that's okay. Oh my gosh, this is actually looking so whack, but I think you guys will understand the premise a little bit still. So, anyway, basically, I used to really think that in order to be an artist, you had to be basically profiting off of it. You had to be making money. You had to be doing all the right things, making the money. And it was certain types of arts that I thought were more artist than others, if that makes sense. And I realize how silly that is. But more so on days like today when I'm like Minecraft, I yearn for the mines. It's like I yearn for the craft. I yearn I yearn for making something. I yearn for creating something that it doesn't even have to, not all art has to mean something, but the fact that it is art to you still means something. So not all art has to be profound. Not all art has to be some social commentary, even though a lot of work that I have made has been. Not everything is something profound. It's the fact that you were inspired to make it that makes it art to me. And I used to also not think that way. I used to think that it had to be something crazy and something special, but it doesn't always have to be. And today I was just overcome with such a wave of, oh my God, I was put on this earth to make things and to live and to make art of my life. And damn, that sounds philosophical, but I was put on this earth to make art of my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way, if that makes sense. I hope you guys can tell what I'm making, because me talking all this shit about art and then not having this be recognizable would be crazy. But that's also part of it. If not everyone likes art, not everyone likes certain things. Not everyone understands things the way that you will understand them. And so it's, I don't know. For me, it's very, very easy for me to get swept up sometimes because I get so swept up in the feeling of things or the. Today, I felt just completely swept up in my love of art and how driven I feel to do it. But then I also felt lost a little bit because I know, and this comes with anyone I feel like that works a 9 to 5, that has an office job, even if it is creative, even if it's creative work in the office, you sometimes feel like it's sucking the creativity out of you because you feel like, well, I have to be creative right now. I have to be doing this thing right now. And that's not the case necessarily. I can wait. I can sketch when I get home. I can design something when I get home. It doesn't always have to be it doesn't always have to be a right now thing. But also, it's something where I feel like it feels so final because art's so important to, I don't know, whenever I'm in that feeling of I need to make something right now, I need to create something right now, and I can't, whether it's time, I just don't have the ability to do this thing, it feels like it's the end of the world sometimes, which is crazy maybe to even say or to admit. Because I know it's not the end of the world. I know it's not never that serious. But because, like I said, I feel like I was put here to make art of my life. Everything in it feels so intertwined. It feels so important because it feels like it's my life. It is my life. It is part of what I feel like is my purpose. And so it feels very hard to be like, oh, this is nothing. You have to just sit down and grind or whatever it is. And also, what is this cat anatomy? Not realistic. And I know maybe this doesn't make sense to people right now what I'm drawing, but I'm just getting I'm trying to figure out how this is gonna look. If this is curved around a finger and have the tail going around, because I want it to be where the tail is curving around the finger and going towards the body of the cat. I don't know. Oh, it feels absolutely sometimes like it's the end of the world, and I know it's not. It's really not. But sometimes I feel like a delicate balance that happens with making sure that your art, if you can't do it or if something's stopping you in the moment, first of all, assessing whether whatever's stopping you is really stopping you. Because having to wait 4 hours to get off to clock out and then work on something is not it stopping you. It feels like the end of the world when you're like, I have this idea, I need to get it out now. But it's not the end of the world if you still have time, if you still have the resources to play all of that. Assessing if it's really stopping you. If it's something like that, if it's just a temporary thing, it's not stopping you. If it's something where it's like you don't have the money to do this thing, well, what do you have the money to do? Can you do a rough draft of it? Can you do something where it doesn't kick as expensive as a thing? I've been putting off for a long time now making jewelry because I'm like, I just simply don't have the money to buy gold to make these things. And I've realized a lot recently that that's kind of an excuse right now that I'm using. Yes, I don't have the money for gold. Who does nowadays? But I have the money for cheap metal. I can make prototypes. I can work in silver. I know that I love gold, and gold is just my color that I like. But I can work in other mediums. I don't have to be working in this high expensive thing. How do you draw a cat that's standing? How do you draw a cat that's standing? I want his arms to be big stretch boy. He looks like a super cat. Oh my gosh. Wait, this is so cute. Should I give him a little cape? There we go. Super cat, guys. I feel like assessing whether or not you're actually being stopped is really important. Anyway, as I was saying, so I want the cat to be wrapped around my thumb, for certain versions at least. I'm sure there'll be other versions where I want it to be more like this guy, where he's playing with something, or like this one where he's just sitting. But I want him to be wrapped around my thumb. This looks like a dog more, like a Shih Tzu or something. I don't know what this guy is. I don't know what he is. Anyway, and this is Super Cat. Super khonshu. Super khonshu. Super kitty. Super kitty. Super kitty khonshu. So let's save these and go to a different layer. Anyway, I am shit. What was I just talking about? This is what happens when you don't script things, guys. What was I just talking about? I mentioned making sure you're not making excuses. Pretty much, that was a summary. Don't make excuses for things that are not actually stopping you from doing your art. Certain things will stop you, but determine it's like most of the things that are actually stopping you from doing your art are not the things you think they are. If it's something like a job, think of it as this is the job that's funding my art. Because everything has to get funded some way. And until you're making money off of your art full time or whatever it is, you have to get it funded some way. So as much as it sucks because maybe you work 10, maybe you work 8 hours, 4 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is, when you're desperate enough, when you're like, oops, when you're desperate enough and when you feel it enough and you are driven, and this isn't to say people don't get tired and they stop or whatever it is. That's not to say that, because they do, because life is so hard and it's sometimes you just stop. It's not worth it or whatever it is, or you need to protect your mental. But most of the time with artists that I know, not doing the thing, not making the thing, not designing, working on it, not following through on it hurts their mental more than the tiredness that they feel when they're doing too much, or when they're okay, well, I just worked a 10-hour shift, but now I gotta come home and I've been thinking of this project for 10 weeks and I'm gonna work on it. The relief you feel when you actually get to do those things and finish the thing that you wanted to finish, it always makes up for it, in my opinion, for the tiredness, for the burnout, for whatever it is. And that's not to say that it's like for everyone or that it's easy or whatever. Ooh, I want to make like this where they're leaning up. That might need to be adjusted a little bit. And he goes, no bones. Oh, that looks so bad. This is a butterfly, guys. I hope that was clear that that was a butterfly. Anyway, most of the time, artists that I've met that I know, they make it work however it is. And either way, though, it's not so much, in my opinion, it's not so much the getting it done that counts in my eyes towards who being an artist is or what being an artist is. I feel like being an artist is having that drive to begin with, having that passion, that burning desire to create whatever it is, whatever medium it is. Obviously, musicians are artists, people who work with pen and paper, people digital art, people who make films, everything. There's so many different ways to be an artist. Poets, writers. People consider writing as sometimes different, and I think it's not. I think it's like all of those professions and a lot of professions create have that creativity and that desire to create and to make and to build and whatever it is. And so many amateurs or people who are just starting out who have the passion of so many people. Oops. They have more passion than anyone, those people that are just starting out or whatever. And the problem is so many times it gets crushed because people are like, oh, well, you're not really an artist. Oh, well, you suck at this. How can you call yourself an artist? You can't even do a proper stick figure, whatever it is. And that's how dreams, that's how you get people that at their end of their career, whatever it is, they're retired and they realize that they never got to pursue anything that they wanted because they were kicked out of it, or people were being snobby about it and being like, oh, well, you have to go to art school to be an art to do this, to be an artist. And it's like, no, that's less of a thing nowadays because obviously the internet's so prevalent and it's a lot easier to just show what you want to show, share your art, to do whatever without having to go to art school, without having to do all those things, which is interesting because I feel like low key, I like that kind of transition happened. I feel like during my era, if that makes sense. When I was growing up, towards when I actually was going to college, that's kind of when that switch started happening. Where nowadays, you really don't need to go to art school. You need a portfolio, you don't need to go to art school. Your portfolio is the most important part when it comes to a lot of things. Obviously, art school is good for a lot of things too. Let's not be weird. Let's not be crazy because it is good. But a lot more of what it's good for is making those connections. And if you don't know how to network yourself, college is great for that. But so is just fucking making yourself go out and network with people, getting a mentor, whatever it is. I can't see my screen currently, actually. Oh, that's why I had that turned down. Let's turn that back down a little bit. Thank you. So this is Kitty. The idea is to do a ring. Oh, that's a eraser. To do a ring, and Kitty is on this ring. I want him to be like nuzzling for one of them. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how to draw a cat nuzzling. Because I want him to be like nuzzling the finger here and leaning his head, eyes closed. Maybe I just need to draw the angle from here. And guys, I don't know how to draw pets. I'm not gonna front with y'all. I look at my pets every day and I do not know how to draw them. See, that looks like more like a dog than a cat. I will also do dog versions of this because I think that would be really cute. But like, I think the muzzle needs to be a lot smaller to be a cat. Oh, I was adjusting the size of the wrong brush. Oopsies. And maybe a little bit wider. Actually, I did need to do that. Oh, that's much better. Oh my god, look at the little kitty eyes. Kitty eyes are normally like this, and then they go oh close. Hi, Kitty. I don't remember what the point I was making in the beginning of my video, which is why I need to have a script. Also, I was gonna brand this as Calming, Lo-Fang with Rose. And I completely forgot the script. So I didn't write one, of course, which is maybe I just need to start writing scripts. I just am not a very script person. I don't. What does the big front of a cat look like? Neck blends into fur. Khonshu, come here. Khonshu, baby, come here. Oh, you're so cute. Khonshu, baby. Hi, Khonshu, baby. They have the chest. like dogs, and it's gonna go down like this because his little paws. Oh, you guys can't see this, but I'm gonna move it up like this so you guys can see it a bit more. So this is what the front of the ring is gonna look like. I think I'm gonna actually adjust this a little bit. Freehand, select, and let's make this bitch smaller so I can put him right here. Then let's do this. That's better. I'm gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna turn off this layer, and I'm gonna only work on this layer. So this is Kitty, and he's very happy. And his butt will go down like this and start curving around. You see, but I need to figure out how the back legs will go. Will the back legs be fine to go curved around? Because it's like he's going around the corner to nuzzle on your face? Or how? I think it might be fine to do like that a little bit, low key. And then, but I think his whole body down here needs to be a bit bigger. And then, oh no, he's going off the side. Let's erase this guy over here. I have him on another layer. And then let's bring him over here. There we go. That's better. And then let's zoom in so we're not looking at. That's better. And so if we're going kitty boneless legs, and then this will be his tail. And his tail is going to come around and meet him back in the front. So tail comes around, meets back in the front, like this. Maybe kitty's like nuzzling. Is there a way to maybe make this the other half of a heart? Where this is his tail, going like this. But I feel like I need the tail to come up more so that it has more, like, the problem with rings when it comes to small pieces is that it can break really easy. So I need it to be strong enough or to cover enough space on the back end, because this will be here, right? This will be where he is on this side. I need it to cover, so either the tail needs to go wide, I need to have support brackets, or because I could bring the tail up like this. Here, let's duplicate this, pause this, and then erase this tail. Legs, I don't know what the legs look like right now. Let's ignore the legs. Let's just completely ignore the legs. But if I make it go silly, obviously very animation type, or not animation type, but like cartoon-esque curl of the tail, I can make it so it goes like this, wraps around the back, so it has a bit more coverage. So it'll be more like this, and then go like this. Wait, hold on. So it'll, okay, so this is the end of the tail. It's gonna be reaching towards his face. It's gonna go down like this, up like this, and then around a little bit. Wait, this is how it's going. Around like this, crossed here. If we're looking at this in 3D, it will look like this, where this will come around like this, back around the hand, and then go back down and around there. So like circle, you can see how the progression goes like this, and then it comes around here and then goes back to the tail. Does that make sense? I have no clue if that makes sense to you guys. Of course, I'm not live, so basically, now his tail is all over my face. Basically, it'll come here, goes nuzzling against the hand, and then it'll come here around this side. It'll wrap this way around both ends, so it'll go like this and then come back this way with a loop here so that it's also getting support right there. So it's all still connected in one line, but it'll have cross points so that those are able to bracket each other a bit better. There won't be an overarching line here at the top of it. So oh, so there won't be anything up here to keep this in point. But this should be stronger because this should be mostly a ring. This should be some support here. And then this is our anchor support. This is like top support. It just won't be connecting. So those are the main three connect points, support points. And now it's not letting me, oh, there you go. Was not letting me undo this. Undo the, what? But anyway, basically today I was very, I don't know. Today I was just feeling some type of way about art, and I realized that I wanted to yap about it because I feel so deeply and passionately about this subject. And I know other people also feel deeply and passionately about this subject. And not every, I probably don't agree with most people. Maybe nobody agrees with me. Maybe everyone thinks that art is needs to be get kept. I'll fight you with this pencil. Anyway, so that was my art rant for the day, and I designed a ring. And maybe next time I'll be designing it in 3D. Because for right now, this is all that I got. I would love a version of this actually that, let's make a second layer. I would love a version of this that has a butterfly on it at the tip right there. little butterfly just perching on the tip of his tail right there would be really cute. Let's see what it looks like if I just throw something over there. Obviously, this is not what a real butterfly looks like, but whatever. Oh, good. You guys can't even see the quality that this is in. It's crazy. Let's take this away then. But actually, I realized you guys can see a bit more of what it looks like that. And I'll include little sketch, maybe. That's how I feel about art. Don't gatekeep art. It is something that everyone, you have the passion to create, you have the passion to make, build. I believe that you're an artist. And that should not be gatekept for any reason because that is how we stop getting more. And I truly believe that everyone should foster and build their inner artist and not gatekeep it from themselves either, because that's also a big problem where people feel like they're not worthy or like, oh, I'm not a real artist, I just do this, or I'm just, stop gatekeeping or stopping yourself from being creative just because you feel like you're not good enough yet. You'll never be good enough in your own eyes because we're our harshest critics, but also you'll never be good enough if you just stop yourself from ever starting. And what's the point of that? Bro could be the next fucking Leonardo da Vinci. Bro could be the next fucking Picasso. Bro could be the next, my personal favorite, Kinde Wiley. And you never know if you're not letting yourself foster that creativity and if you're not letting yourself grow. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, I just do this. Oh, well, you're just an artist. But anyway, so I'm feeling very passionate about art today. I feel like I have 1,000,005 ideas and I'm tired of not doing them. And I am going to get on my own ass to not let excuses be the reason that I can't be an artist right now. And so, although I'll be streaming like this more often, where I'm actually going to be doing streams where I work on things like this, or I sketch things, or I design things, or I work on photo projects and write storyboards. So come say hi. Twitch.withxrose. Twitch.withxrose. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. By Woozia. Nails by Woozia, by the way. Oh, my nails. They're by Woozia, by the way. Nails. Hello. An ad. Mm-hmm.